Have you ever wondered why all sliders libraries that you try to use are either bloated or super complex? But what we really need is simply sliding between images. Most people search for libraries because they think that implementing slider is difficult. This is why by the end of this video I will teach you how to implement a slider inside Angular with using Angular signals and effects in a really simple way that you can understand and support yourself. So let's have a look on our starter project. We have our app component with the list of our slides. The only important thing for us is the URL that we want to change. You can see that we are importing here image slider because we want to create a shareable component that we can use anywhere. Here is this image slider. It's just an empty component with no HTML and no CSS. Additionally, I created inside image slider types a slide.ts file. I highly recommend you to type everything so you are aware what you can pass inside your component. So let's create here an interface, slide, and we already saw there is a URL inside which is a string and a title which is a string. Now inside our app component, we can type our slides and say that it is a slide array. And now it is properly validated. As you can see inside app.html, I wrote some styles on our parent. Here I have fixed widths and heights and margin 0 auto to center it. This is important because we want our slider to be fluid and it should fit any parent, which means we configure outside what size it should be. But still, it is important to pass this value inside our component because it needs to know what size it should be. This is why here let's pass parent width and it will be 500, and we also need to pass our slides inside. This is what makes it shareable. And here is our array of slides. Now let's go to our image slider and create these inputs. We obviously want to use here input signals and make both of them required. So here are our slides. It is an input which is required and the type of it is slide array. And the next one is our parent width that we just provided, and it is also a required input with the number. Now let's write some markup and talk what we want to implement. The main point is how we want to do sliding effect. We can't just render separately an image every single time when we click left or right. We want this sliding animation, which means we need to render all our images at once in a huge long container, and then when we're sliding, we simply transform the position of our container. This is why here, first of all, let's create a div, which will be our slider, and let's write some styles directly. So what we want for our slider is our position relative. It should take height 100% and width 100%. And this is happening because it is fully fluid and is configured from the outside. Now inside our slider, we will implement arrows, but a little bit later. And after this, we want to implement our images. So what we need here is our overflow container. This is why here let's create a class slides overflow, and inside we will render a list of our slides. I will just write a slide here for now. So let's style now our slides overflow. Most importantly here we need overflow hidden. This is exactly why we need this container, and we need height also 100%. Now inside our slides overflow we can't render just slides because as they are divs they won't be in a single row. This is why we need one more container. And let's create here slides container, and inside of it we will have our slides. So let's also style it now. It will be a standard display flex, so it is a row, then again height 100%, and this is enough for now. And inside our container now we want with the for loop render our slides. So it is slide of slides. Just to remind you, it's a signal input. And now inside we can render a div with just class slide. Let's have a look in the browser. Here is our parent, then inside we have a slider, it takes full width, we have our slides overflow and slides container. Most importantly, this is an overflow hidden element, and this is a container which should be super long. It should be the length of all our slides together. And now inside we're rendering our slides. The next step that we want to do is render some slides, but in order to do that, let's style it first. So we need here a slide element. It is also height 100%, we need here border radius for the image, 10 pixels. Then we want background size cover and background position center. So we're not using an image tag to render our images, we're rendering them with background URL. But actually we can't write it here because our URL is dynamic. So what we must do here is create dynamically some styling. So let's create here get slide style, and we're providing here a slide. And our slide is exactly our interface, and we want to return inside an object. So here first of all we're providing a background, which will be a URL. So inside we're providing a variable slide.url. After this additionally we must provide width. It will be also a string, and we have here this parent width that we're getting from the outside with pixels. So this is the style that we want to apply additionally to this slide style. This is why here we can use ng style and call here our function get actually slide style, not style, and we're providing a slide inside. So let's change this function inside our component, and now these two values are dynamic for our div. Let's have a look in browser. As you can see, all our images are rendered, and we actually have here width 500 pixels, but it is not really working. We see all of them on the screen. The first fix that we need to do is on our slide, we want to use flex shrink 0, and it will make sure that an image takes full width. The next fix that we must do is configure the width of our parent. Exactly in the same way like we implemented getSlideStyle, we need to get the slides container style. So let's jump to our component and write a computed. We don't really need here a function because we can just compute a variable which will be changed based on our inputs. So here we can name it slides container styles, and this is a computed property. Now inside we want to provide width, and it should be a total width of all our slides. So here we can just take our parent width, it is the width of our single image, and we multiply it on our slide's length. And at the end we need pixels. And this is exactly what we're doing in my middle to senior bootcamp. We're solving complex tasks and architectural problems in order to get you to a senior level. Now let's apply these slider styles on our container. So here again we need ng style, and inside we're providing our slides container styles signal. Let's have a look in browser. Here is our image, and we have our slides container. And as you can see, the width of this container is 2500 pixels. This is exactly what we want. But here I see one problem. On our slide, our background size and background position are not there. It happens because I wrote the background and not the background image. This is why let's jump inside our TS file and here change background to background image. And now it looks completely different, and we see the first image. The main point is now, in order to change the image, is just to translate our container. So we can write here transform, translate x, and here we will have some value. And when we decrease the value, you can see that second image pops up. We just need to change this value correctly. In order to do that, I want to introduce the current index. It means what image we're rendering right now. So let's create current index, and it will be a signal. And by default, the value is 0. Now we have this width, but additionally we want a transform. It will be a translate x, where inside we will provide a variable, this current index, and we're multiplying it on this parent width. And after this we need pixels. Now let's look in browser. Here is the first image. When I'm changing it to signal and value 1, we see another image. We're changing it again and another image. By the way, who can guess where I made these photos? Write me down in the comments below. So now we can change current index by hand, but this is not our intention. We need some controls on our slider. This is why let's jump inside our HTML and here add arrows. So we want here a div with class arrow. Here is our first arrow, and now the same to the right. So let's name it arrow right. I will paste styling for our arrows because this video is not really about CSS. So here what we have an arrow. It is absolutely positioned on our slider on the center with that index 1 white color and bigger font size. Additionally, on hover we have lower opacity, and for the left arrow the position is left 32, for the right arrow is right 32. As you can see in browser, our arrows are rendered correctly. But now we need to implement some logic. We want to implement go to previous and go to next. So let's create here a click event, go to previous, and we need the same on the right, so go to next. Now let's create these two functions inside our component. First of all is go to previous. Basically what we need to change is our current signal -1. But the question is what happens when we're on the first slide. We want to go then on the last slide. So let's first create here a variable is first, and we're checking if our current index equals 0. Then it means that we need to go to the end. So our new index will be, if we're on the first slide, then it will be slides length -1. In other case, we're taking our current index and we're doing on it -1. And now we can just update our signal current index with new index. But obviously we need .set. And exactly the same logic we need on go to next, but on the last slide we need to go to the first slide. So here let's check is last, and we're checking that our current index equals our slides length -1. After this we can calculate our new index. So we're checking is it a last slide? If yes, then we're just taking 0. In other case we're taking current index +1. And after this we want to update our current index with our new index. Let's check this logic now. I'm jumping to the browser, I'm clicking next, and our images are changed. But basically we're not changing our images, we simply change the transform on our container, because all images are already there. Exactly the same, it works in another direction. But you for sure want to say, okay, but we need a really smooth animation between these images, and we can fix it in a single line. We can jump to CSS, find our container, slides container, and add here a transition transform is out 0.3 seconds. Now let's reload the page. I am clicking on the right, and as you can see we have this smooth transition when we are doing our transform. But it is not all. Most sliders have dots on the bottom to jump directly to some slide. So let's jump in our HTML, and after our slides overflow container, create a div with dots. So here I want dots container, and inside we need a for loop. Again, it will be for our slides, because our dots mirror slides. And inside let's create a div with the dot. Now we need here a class so we can style it. It will be dot, and additionally we want an active class. So we can write here class.active, and it will be active when the index of our dot equals current index. Now let's write some styling. Here is what we have. Dot container, it's just a row with some margin. Then every single dot has a margin, a font size, and a color with some transition. And on the active it is simply a black dot. As you can see in browser, these dots are there and the active is highlighted in black. But now we need to jump between them, so we need a click event. Let's add here a click event, and we can simply say go to slide. And we're passing inside an index of slide where we want to go. Now let's implement this function inside our component. We know that as a parameter we're getting an index and it is a number. We just need to change our current index with set to the index that we provided. Let's try this out. I'm clicking on third image and we're scrolled to it, which means our dots are working correctly. The last feature that we need to implement is auto-scrolling of our images, and we can do it in an interesting way with usage of effect. So first of all, let's create here our timeout effect, and we have an effect function here, where we want to just console log our timeout effect. As you can see in the console, timeout effect happens only once, because it is not being changed based on some signal. What happens if we write here this dot current index with round brackets? Now here we see timeout effect 0, we're clicking again, we see timeout effect 1, 2, and so on. Now this is exactly what we want. We want to run an effect every single time when current index changes. So in order for it to work, we simply need to use it. So let's save current index in the variable. Now, as we want to write a set timeout inside, we want to also have an ID. So let's create a timeout ID, which will be a signal of either number or undefined. And by default, it will be undefined. Now here inside, we will update timeout ID every single time, and this is a random value. We don't want to track that, we simply want to track current index. This is why here we can get our previous ID, and I am using here a function untracked. And what it does, it stops tracking what is inside. And inside we want to read just this timeout ID. And now this effect won't be triggered on this code. As you can see, untracked is executing this function in non-tracking context. Now we can do window.clear timeout to make sure that we're not running several timeouts at once, and we're cleaning previous ID. And after this, we can get an ID by calling window.setTimeout. And inside of our setTimeout, we have a delay of 2 seconds, and we want to just call goToNext. After this, again, with usage of untracked, we want to make a set, so it will be this timeout ID.set, and we are passing inside an ID that we just created. You can see that we are not using this index here at all, we just use it for the tracking, and it may look weird for some people, because we don't have something like a dependency array inside an effect of Angular. Let's console log here our timeout effect, so we can understand that it works correctly. So on page reload, it is once timeout effect, and every single time when we're updating our current index, it is being called again and again. But when I start clicking really fast on previous or next button, then it is being executed again and again, and we are sure that our timeout is being cleared. So our slider is fully implemented now, and it might look like a small project, but now you can reuse it everywhere and fully understand the code. But if you want to become a real senior and make sure that you always have a job, I highly recommend you to look on my middle to senior bootcamp, where we're solving a lot of real tasks, covering code with tests, and understand architecture on a senior level. Make sure to check it in the description under the video.